I'm hoping that we're going to see like a rise in inventory. Definitely not spring market of April. I'm telling people January, but I'm a little bit concerned that it's not going to make that much of a difference. We have such a leap to take to get where we need to be.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. My name is Matt, that is Shawn, and welcome to our show, Shawn. In today's episode, we have a very special guest with us.
Yes,
a
we do.
Local realtor in the Frederick, Maryland area who's been in business for over 29 years.
29 years? I didn't know that.
Can you believe that?
I don't think that's true.
That's
All right. This is a little puffery going on
a
here.
bio here. It's
You better update that bio.
Buying and selling, investing since 2002. Was that 29 years?
21, 22, 23 years. Almost
23 years.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'm a lot
3
older
years.
than I thought.
Consistently ranking in the top 100 for DC Metro Realtors, been a resident of Frederick County for over 29 years. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Frederick.
County.
So
And actually, I need to update that because it's been over 33 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
okay, well, we'll get our dates correct
Okay,
here. And I
sorry.
saw that you were just named as a top 25 real broker team in the nation. So,
Exciting.
ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Stacy Allwein. Stacy, welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm so
Yeah.
excited to be here. We've been trying to do this for a while, and I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, and you had mentioned like you've done Zoom podcasts before with other people, and the thing is, like, we have the studio, we have everything set up, so it's a little bit of a hike us going there, you coming here, but if we have the opportunity, the in-person podcasts are just so much better for a variety of reasons. So let's get started with your background, because I don't think I could walk into Frederick and find anyone that doesn't know you. So how did you get started in real estate, and what's your community like in Frederick?
Okay, so my background before real estate was in human resources. So I was an HR director for many years, and my husband and I invested in real estate. We had several investment properties, and I was just burned out and decided it was time to get involved in something new. So I got my real estate license, and then 2008 was happening, and the market crashed, and I was like, what the heck did I do? But it was actually the best thing I ever did, because I learned that you had to do a lot more than put a sign in the yard. You know, I learned to do short sales and foreclosures and build relationships with people. And it was just amazing. I loved what I was doing. I wasn't making a lot of money at the time, but it was like on-the-job training. And then I got into coaching with Buffini and Company, learned to do like business by referral, and then my business just took off.
That's great. And it's funny. I didn't realize you were into flipping. That's how I started as well. I was flipping, and I was like, oh, I got to get my real estate license. And then it just kind of blossomed from there.
Stacy seems to be a little more involved in the flipping, maybe a little more successful. You've told some horror stories in Old Town Alexandria.
Well, we did a couple, but yeah, we didn't really know what we were doing. But yeah, why don't you tell us more about the flipping?
Really wasn't, that was my husband Bob's thing. My involvement was more just invest, buy and hold. And we still have two of those houses that we bought in maybe like 2003, 2004. I still have those houses. They're great rental properties.
Can you share any numbers, like purchase price, rental price, like cash flow?
I can share that we bought them when the market was high, and now we are over that. As far as like, I think we purchased the two that we have right now. I think we purchased for like $225. If I were going to sell them right now, they would be, one of them would probably be $375. The other one
$225. I'm sorry, that was the high market.
That was the high
That was
market.
okay. So just for those watching at home, $225,000.
Yeah, but this is Frederick, Maryland.
Okay.
So they went below that.
Now let me ask you this. I go off on tangents. Frederick, Maryland, is that the DMV? Are we including Frederick in the DMV?
I think so.
You think so?
I mean, it's DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Do you think where's the culture line end? Because you got like Gaithersburg, Rockville. I don't know if it's in the right order, but you keep going out.
Right.
Is Frederick in the DMV? I don't know. Drop a comment down below if you think Frederick's in the DMV.
He asked me the same thing a couple of years ago. He was like, "Is Baltimore in the DMV?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Okay,
I don't
Baltimore
know.
is a hard no.
Yeah,
I think that's a hard no.
I've learned that over the years.
I could
but, like,
be convinced that Frederick is in the DMV, but it seems like when you go out there, everything is like farmland. But then you go to the town and it's like a quaint,
it's a beautiful
small
town. It's
Well,
funny.
you've been to my house.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, you go through maybe some farmland, but it's built up so much.
It took me an hour to get there, which really wasn't bad. And the town is amazing. You know, I had never been there, and walking through it, I was like, wow, this is a really cool town. But I think I want to go back to what you had just said and how she bought at the high mark, right? 2003,
But those are small townhouses.
Yeah, well, but the thing is, we all thought that was the high mark, right? But now we're clearly way beyond that, right? And so it's my thing about this is that everybody is worried about buying at the height of the market.
Correct.
Worried about, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? But in the buy and hold strategy, it always comes out that if you hold it long enough, you're going to be positive. And so that's my point, is like she bought it for $225, but now it's worth what?
They're like $375, and our mortgage is so low.
So
that
low,
we are
low interest rate, cash flowing.
Flowing.
Yeah, that's the
so
key.
that is the key. And I was always adamant that these two houses never selling. These are, we sold some other ones, and I would say to my husband, we are never selling these two houses.
Yeah.
So,
Are you actively looking for more rental buy and hold opportunities, or how do you come across the deals? I know this was like a long time ago, but how do you come across deals like this?
I think they're really hard to come across right now. I mean, the average sales price in Frederick County, Maryland, right now, I think is probably like $475, and that would be condos, townhouses, single-family homes. And it's still hard to find a house for $475, but the deals are far and few between because the inventory is so low.
Yeah, and that's funny because when I think of Frederick, Maryland, I always think of properties like in the 3s or 2s, and you're like, when you actually go looking there, it's a lot more expensive than you would think. So,
oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, and just like everywhere else, the prices have shot up over the last several years. I mean, anybody that bought, I bought in 2019, and yeah, I could sell my house for way more, but where do you go?
Yeah.
What is the Frederick market like? Because we, here in the DC, Arlington, Fairfax area, we always hear about Frederick as being this place where during the pandemic, people moved out and say, oh, I just need more space, I'm going to move to Frederick. But then we go out there and we're like, well, hold on. You don't really need to come back to DC because Frederick just has so much that has happened. Seemingly, I know nothing about Frederick in the past couple of years. So what does that Frederick market look like?
So as far as like inventory, as far as prices?
Inventory, prices, jobs, like why do people move to Frederick?
So I think a lot of people move to Frederick back in, the reason I moved to Frederick, which was a long time ago in 1990, was because I could afford it. And I grew up in Montgomery County, and, we could get the same house for $35,000 cheaper. And at 25, that, was a great thing to do. So I think some people still have that same experience, but also I think people are trying to get away from the rat race, get away from the traffic, and the price is definitely cheaper than Montgomery County. We have the same inventory problem that everyone else has. A stable inventory in Frederick County would be 12 to 1,400 houses, and if you take out like new construction, on any given day we're running about 230. So it's tough, just like everywhere else. We're still seeing multiple offers. We're seeing appraisal gaps. We're seeing no inspections. We're seeing all of those types of things. But people are coming to Frederick because it does have a thriving economy. We have some bigger businesses. Frederick County Public Schools is a big employer. We have some biotech companies that employ large population. But also, it's very easy to commute to Loudoun County, to DC, and so many people still work at home that it just makes sense for a lot of people to move to Frederick.
Yeah, that's one thing I never realized, that how close you were to Loudoun County, right? Because you have to cross the Potomac, and the Potomac is always like, that's the barrier, right? That's the barrier, so you got to find that. But I didn't realize how close you were to that, actually. But, the one thing that I've been impressed by you is your involvement in the community. I've known Stacy for years. Stacy was at Century 21 Redwood, and then she came over to Real as well. So first, How do you do that community involvement? How do you stay on top of that? And what are your things that you're doing?
So giving back and being part of the community has always been a big part of my heart. I have had a lot of loss in my life. My brother died from a drug overdose. My husband just passed away from pancreatic cancer, and I've had another brother that passed away years before that. The way I get through that and the way my kids get through that is giving back. And I feel like it's just in my heart and soul to give back to others. And one of my big things that I am very involved with in the Frederick community is the Phoenix Foundation. Phoenix Foundation runs the only recovery high school in Maryland. And so the Phoenix Foundation, the Phoenix Recovery High School, is a high school for students who have either been involved in drugs and have gone to rehab, or need to be sober, and they need to be in an environment where they are not hanging out with the same kids. Like, if you or I had that problem, they would say, don't go back to the bar and hang out with Shawn.
Yeah.
Because you need to have a different group of people.
Did anyone in Pittsburgh say that?
Yeah, they used to say that.
But with kids, we put them back in the same environment.
Yeah.
So the school is amazing. We opened in 2020. I'm the vice president of the board of the Phoenix Recovery School.
Wow,
and
congratulations. That's awesome.
I love helping there. I love giving back to them, and I love seeing how these kids do. We have an annual gala every year, which just happened in October, and just getting my business partners involved, my title company that I use, the lenders, everybody in the community getting involved is just amazing. So that's really big. And then just in August, my son, Michael, who works on my team, and my daughter and daughter-in-law, we formed a foundation for my husband called Be Like Bob. And very exciting. I have his bracelet on here.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Bob loved to give back. He loved to help with Phoenix. He loved to help with Toys for Tots. There's another organization in our community called SHIP, which is Student Homelessness Initiative Project, helping students that maybe need clothes or that type of thing in the public schools. So with Be Like Bob, we are going to be giving back to the community. We had a cornhole tournament scheduled, but it got canceled because of the rain. So we're rescheduling that for 2024, hopefully in the beginning, and maybe in a venue where the weather won't be affected, maybe like a brewery or something like that.
That's great. That's great. And the other thing I learned about Bob, I never got the pleasure of meeting Bob, but I just learned that he was big into Bigfoot. And so I was like, I believe Bob, so
he believed for sure.
Well, Shawn and I can toss the bags like no other. So
then you guys better be there.
You let
we'll
us
make
know.
Sure.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to say about Stacy is when we went to our office opening, our grand opening, it was like, everybody knew Stacy, everybody talked about Stacy, had great things to say about her. And I was just like, you could sense that she was ingrained in her community. I mean, and that's hard to do.
Yeah, I was talking to some guy, and I was telling him, I was like, hey, I hear the mayor's going to be here any moment now. And the guy's like, yeah, he's been standing over there for like 30 minutes. The mayor's just over in the corner, like eating a bag of chips and like drinking some water, just like hanging out, like he's in
Stacy,
like he's at a friend's house.
It's
like you just get the mayor to show up. It's incredible.
Frederick is an amazing community, and that that's what I love. And I think that a lot of people do move to Frederick, maybe not knowing how amazing it is. And my office is in downtown Frederick, and Frederick County is so much larger. I live about 10 minutes outside of the city in a town called Newmarket. But what I love about Frederick is it actually is a much bigger area than you realize, but I say it's like the biggest small town because you can walk down the street, and I walk down the street if I'm just having a bad day just to see who I can see and say hi to. And there's never a moment that doesn't happen.
That's awesome.
So I love that. And I love that everybody is kind and everybody wants to help other people.
With Frederick, what's the biggest thing that they have going on where if they can figure that out, then they're just going to take this giant leap forward, whether it's housing, whether it's people, whether it's community, whether it's jobs? Like what is everyone in Frederick talking about right now trying to solve?
I think it's a combination. We're growing so fast. So schools are an issue. Schools, that we have a great public school system. We just need to keep up with the growth. And we need more houses. So it kind of contradicts each other because we need the schools to take care of, the kids that are all moving in, but we also need more housing. there just isn't enough housing, which I think is a problem probably across the country.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's everywhere. One last question for you. So we were at Century 21 together. We were in different offices, different states, but we knew each other. And about a year ago, we both made the transition to Real. So I wanted to ask, how has it been? You know, it's like Real is kind of the smaller brokerage, but it's a nationwide brokerage. It's starting to get some traction. We were some of the first agents to go over to this company. What has your experience been at Real?
It's been amazing. I would say, you know, obviously it's always a little scary to switch brokerages, especially, you know, I was very happy where I was, just ready for a change. A little scary to go to a different type of brokerage, you know, Real being a cloud brokerage. The idea that I could have my own office was big for me. That was important for our team. I have never seen like the type of growth that I've seen with our team, with the company itself, the support from not only our broker, but from like management, from the president down, and the opportunities. And, you know, I've had a tough year with my husband passing away, and couldn't have probably been a worse time to make such a change, but it's been amazing. We love it. I mean, I just think it's real. Like it's great. It's really great.
It is. And I agree with you 100%. I think, you know, it's always tough to switch brokerages. That leap it's a tough hurdle to do, and it's a lot of work. And especially, you know, you're tired from doing all this business during the year. The last thing you want to do is rebrand yourself, you know, create new signs, all this other stuff. But, you know, once you get there, you realize, wow, okay, I did this for a reason, and the reason is real, you know, and it worked out. And so we've actually had a really great year. We've learned a lot. We've met so many new people. And like you said, broker's great. We've met the owner, the president, everybody. And it's a small community. It's nationwide, but it's a small community. And that's what we love about it.
Yeah.
So.
And I think, you know, the owner, the president have been just amazing. And to be able to say that when they're located in another state, and to say that I've had like direct, you know, contact, direct communication with them, I never would have expected that. And I didn't expect that when I joined the company. And it's just been, the expectations have been well exceeded.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Let's move into 2024 predictions. Now's the time where articles start coming out about what the 2024 market's going to look like. I like this one from Urban Turf. I have it on the big screen if you also want to follow along. But it says, as a tumultuous year for housing. How about that? Do you have that in your thesaurus?
Tumultuous. Yeah, I use it all the time.
Do you pull that one out? Yeah, Siri might have some trouble with the voice to text.
I don't think I could text that one in my car.
Like if you do the swipe on your phone, it's just swipe back and forth. Forecasts are being made for what 2024 may bring. So Urban Turf pulled out some highlights from Bright MLS, which covers Frederick County, covers Arlington County, and many counties in between. Here are the highlights. Home sales will rise about 11%. This year, sales are down 24%. So home sales as in volume.
Okay, that's what
home prices will rise ever so slightly. Bold prediction. Bright says that the median home prices in the region will increase about 1%. Okay. Inventory of home sales will rise, but remain at 77% of the supply before the pandemic began. And then everyone's favorite, where will mortgage rates be? They will fall below 7% in the first quarter of the year and end around 6.2. So, Stacy, specifically looking at Frederick, and you're so entrenched in that community, both the community, the people, as well as the real estate market. The inventory, you harped on it earlier, how there's low inventory. What are you hearing as you're walking through the streets of Frederick, ear to the ground, about inventory coming on the market? Because I'm telling clients, hey, second week of January, not necessarily spring market because that sounds ridiculous, but hey, second week of January, things are going to start popping off. What do you see in Frederick?
I mean, I'm telling clients the same thing, and I'm hoping that we're going to see like a rise in inventory. Definitely not spring market of April. I'm telling people January, but I'm a little bit concerned that it's not going to make that much of a difference. We have such a leap to take to get where we need to be because our inventory is so incredibly low. But I am hoping that, you know, we will see an increase in inventory. I just don't know how much.
Yeah.
So what about prices? Because this one, for me is an interesting one because I think now we're at the time where the buyers that bought at 2.5, 2.75, 3.5 have just had it up to here with home ownership, where they can push it out, they can wait, they can be frustrated. But the reality is, if you don't like your house, you don't like your house. If you don't like your neighbors, you don't like your neighbors. Like, you don't live in an interest rate, right?
Right.
You don't go to bed
No.
with an amortization schedule.
Exactly.
Like, you're a real person, and it's nice to maybe make that 2.75 payment, but at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of people that are unhappy right now with their houses, and there's only so long they can live unhappily until push comes to shove and they have to sell.
Agreed.
So do you think that 2024 is going to be the year when we're going to start to see these pandemic buyers turn into sellers?
Absolutely. And that's what I think will drive the inventory up, because I've talked to so many people that are like, we're going to do it. Like, we're not going to focus on the interest rate. You know, the interest rates are going to come back down. They aren't going to probably come down to 2.25% or 3%, but we need to get into a house that fits our situation better, fits our family better, is something that we like. And a lot of people did buy houses that they don't want to be in anymore for whatever reason. Or, you know, life happens and people, you know, they're downsizing or they're upsizing or they've had 2 more kids since the pandemic. Or unfortunately they're getting divorced, or there's different things. And I really think that people are starting to realize that, you know, the interest rates are not going to change drastically. So they are going to go ahead and do what's right for their situation.
Yeah, I was thinking about this before I came over, if that's okay. And that's exactly what I was thinking. I think people are they're fed up now. They're just tired. They're like, you know, I was holding off for long enough. I was holding my life back for a year, 2 years while these interest rates rose, and I'm tired of it. I want to move. I want to be gone. So I think the interest rates will live in the 6s this year. They're going to fluctuate between low and high. I don't think it's going to increase too much. I think it's going to trend down the whole year. And the reason I believe that is why 2024 is different than 2023 is because it's an election year. The election, if the Democrats don't push this, you know, make the economy look like it's going well and making the housing market look like it's strong, push these interest rates down, they're going to lose an election. And so there's going to be a lot of pressure for the Democrats to push these interest rates or keep them lower, not to increase anymore, because we've seen increases for the last 2 years. We're tired of it. I think everybody's tired of it. We're tired of inflation. I mean, like, are you tired of spending $13 for a meal at McDonald's? I know Matt's at McDonald's like every day.
I don't think I've been to McDonald's in 10 years.
And the other thing is, I opened my Oreos the other day. I got double stuffed. They were like 1.5 stuffed.
What is that? Is it
shrinkflation?
I thought it's stagflation.
Shrinkflation. No, it's true, because I actually had a double stuff and it was smaller. I'm like, dude, this is not a double stuff anymore. Not that I'm a junk food eater, but it's true. Like, people are seeing and feeling this. So I feel like government pressure is going to be, hey, we need to stop this. We need to quell the increase and get them down. In that, I think that people are going to be more comfortable with the fact that they just want to move. They want to get out of the problem that they've been in. Who cares if it costs me more money? This is my life. I need to get moving. And so I think that'll drive the inventory. But what else is going to happen is the buyers are getting more and more used to the 6%. So unfortunately, the demand is going to increase and it's going to outpace the supply still all of 2024. But I think we're going to probably see an increase by late spring of about a 3% increase from now to then.
If you were, by the way, you mentioned elections. Is Jerome Powell up for election? Can we elect him? Can we not elect him? Can we kick him out of office? I know he doesn't have an office, but
I don't know anything about him. Maybe I'm not up to the. You're saying, okay.
I'm doing a bit.
Yeah.
Jerome Powell, the Fed. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the Fed increases. No, I mean, that's the thing is
crickets.
Well, I didn't know exactly what his role was, so I guess that,
he's the guy that announces, "Hey, we hiked the interest rates."
So he's
like, let's get him out.
Let's get him out, exactly. But he's under the pressure.
You know, a joke is good when you have to explain the joke to two people.
We're like,
you got me on the spot with Jerome Powell. I can't remember.
Wait, is he somebody from Virginia? Because I don't know Virginia.
Jay Powell, baby.
It's the truth, though. It's like he was the bad man on campus because like he kept announcing the increases, and I'm like, come on, dude, like, we're done with this stuff. But everybody's so tired of inflation, you have to increase this to decrease this, and that's what was happening.
Have you filled up your tank recently? Have you?
No, because I have a Tesla, thankfully.
Was that the most bougie Shawn Battle comment you've ever heard? Oh, my car doesn't take gas.
It's a Tesla, Matt. Sorry. No, actually, I do have a Land Rover.
So do you fill up your? Have you filled up your wife's car recently?
Yeah.
Gas prices are down.
They came down.
Have you noticed that?
I filled mine up on the way here, and it
so
was
slightly. Now everyone's mad at the president when they're up. Do the same people give a little like thumbs up to the president when they go down, or no? Doesn't work that way.
They
Are we getting into politics here?
I mean,
just an
I brought it up,
observation.
I guess. But
Yeah.
you know, I think on an election year, yeah, you bring those prices down and people are happy. You got to make people happy to make them vote for you, and that especially in the middle. You know, you're always going to have your polarized points, but that's that middle that everybody's going after, and you know they can sway either or. And if they're in a bad economy, high inflation, high costs, they're probably going to be swayed in a different way, you know.
Okay, so getting off that topic, but I wanted to finish the 2024 prediction, Stacy, with this. Sellers out there, you own a property, you know you're going to sell, and you can sell anytime in 2024. When are you advising the seller? Let's say they have a great house in Frederick. When are you advising, hey, you got to start cleaning up, fixing, painting this month, and I would, you know, key in between like these 6 weeks. What would you recommend for your sellers?
So I'm telling people ASAP. So I'm saying if we can get the house on the market, you know, the beginning of January, that's the best time.
Snow on the ground in Frederick, beginning of January?
I don't think it matters.
You don't think it matters?
I don't think it matters.
When does that 2024 market start for you?
I think it starts
January 2nd?
As soon as you take your Christmas tree down.
Yep.
Yeah.
we've seen those markets when January hits and it's crazy. And I think the key that Stacy's saying is right now the inventory is so low. There's still buyers out there, but the inventory is so tight that if you wait into the spring market, we all know the spring market is the best time when the most activity is happening, but you're also seeing the most supply. So yeah, you're getting the most buyers. So does it make sense now when there's nothing on the market and you could get 4, 5, 6 buyers on a property, or do you wait till the spring when the market is the hottest, but you have more competition in the way of more listings? So who knows?
I mean, even if the competition is a couple more houses, that makes a difference. You know,
Yeah,
I'm still
it does.
sticking to my marketing plan of putting a house on coming soon for 21 days, photos on a Thursday, active on a Friday, and we're under contract on a Monday.
Yeah.
And that's happening.
Good.
When you do coming soon, you just have the one exterior photo, or
Usually I
how
do.
you
I know
that?
some people do their photos like at the same time and put all their photos up. I don't. I usually put 1 or 2 exterior photos, and it seems to work.
We got to start doing the coming soon more often.
I'm actually doing one. I'm going to put one on. I'm trying to get it on today. It is a single family home. It'll just be the exterior picture at this point. I think it's good for the markets that we have low inventory to start showcasing it. We can do it up for 21 days, and then it has to go active. I think we're going to go active this week. We'll go on probably like the 14th of December. And, you know, it's a good way to test the market to see if you're getting any scheduled showings, any calls, any interest. That way you can gauge, you know, how is the market? Because we're all kind of wondering what the December market's going to be like, what the January market's going to be like. And so I think a lot of people's minds are on the holidays, but the serious people are serious. They're out there. And yeah, I mean, coming soon is tough because we always run into the issue that our clients want to go on the market as soon as possible. So like the one I put on today, it was just like, I got to get these pictures. I had pictures yesterday on the market today. So like I didn't do a coming soon for that because I like to have my marketing done. But in the instance where it's a single family home, we can get a nice exterior picture and that's kind of all you need for the time being. I think it works well.
Stacy, when you're on coming soon, do you get agents that try to bully you into taking an offer, into seeing the property? What is that experience like with the agents?
So sometimes, and typically you kind of know who those agents are. And
Yeah.
if you see their phone call coming in, you know who they are going to be.
Block.
Yeah. Or I'm just like, we don't do that. Well, we do that all the time. And I'm like, no, we don't do that. So I'm really a rule follower with a lot
are
of
too,
things.
man.
Yeah.
Yep,
And
we are too.
I did have a house. We're settling on it next week. And these people, an agent wrote a sight unseen offer. And the offer was so phenomenal that I'm like, that's fine. And they, you know, I presented it obviously, and it was good. And my person, we made it active, and they had like 12 hours to see the house, and they did, and it all worked out. It's not my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
I would rather put it on the market and get some competition. But yes, there are people that try to bully you into it. And I know there's plenty of people out there that show the houses when they're oncoming soon, but we don't do that.
Yeah, we don't either.
Well, speaking of following rules, there's an interesting discussion that's happening right now in the Echo Title Facebook group. So if you look up on the big screen, this was posted a couple weeks ago, and it has to do with status changes. So PSA, Bright's rules say that listings need to be updated within 2 days. As a professional working for the good of my clients, there are times as a listing agent that I deliberately do not update the listing until the end of that grace period. I know buyers get anxious, but part of our jobs as buyer's agents is to explain the norms. Yes, Mr. Buyer, I see the listing still shows as active, even though you have a ratified contract last night. It can take 1 to 2 days before that gets updated. Nothing to worry about. This agent is seemingly scolding buyer's agents for reaching out to the listing agent to update the status. So it looks like this agent is having a contract accepted and then deliberately not changing the status from active to pending, active to active under contract until 2 days have passed. Now, I don't know if that is to get more showings. I don't know if that's to try to meet some sort of contingency period, but it appears like they are trying to act against the goodwill and the nature of what this rule was first put in place for. So, Stacy, when you see something like that, what are your thoughts?
I honestly, again, being like a total rule follower, as soon as I get a house, if I'm the listing agent, as soon as I get something under contract, I change the status. I mean, you just got me thinking, oh, I just ratified a contract on the way here. You need to go change that status. I don't see why. To me, it seems like I know there's a 2-day waiting period. Actually, I didn't know there was a 2-day waiting period.
I got to be honest, I didn't know there was a 2-day
I didn't know there was a
grace
2-day
period.
I didn't know there was a 2-day grace period.
I don't know why that's there. Maybe you're out of town. Maybe there's some sort of reason you can't update the status. It makes sense that there would be a grace period, but if you're intentionally using that grace, you're sitting at your computer and you're just not changing it. It just
I think that's wrong.
Yeah. It's like it's technically correct, which is like the worst kind of correct, right? But the thought of the rule is being completely abused, at least in my...
I agree. And I think that, at that point, we're starting the next phase of the transaction, and you're going to be working with that buyer's agent. And, I like to say that I'm really easy to work with and I'm representing my seller, but I, want to make this as smooth as possible. And to me, that would be something that would be kind of adversarial.
What if you had a seller client that said, hey, I know we're about to go under contract. I read that Bright MLS has a 2-day grace period. I would like you to keep my property active for the next 48 hours. What would you do?
I would explain to them why I didn't think that was a good idea, and then kind of talk it through, and hopefully they would value my opinion, and explain to them that was a grace period and that wasn't really a practice, and see how it goes.
Shawn, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm a rule follower, man. As soon as I get something under contract, I change the status, or within, if it's sometimes I forget, you might forget quickly, but a lot of times Allison will do it for us as well. But I don't like the idea. I think if you're going under contract, you're going under contract. You can still show properties under the under contract status, active under contract. In that active under contract status, you're technically still allowed to show it until it goes pending. So you can call that agent and be like, hey, can I still show it? Sure, go ahead, whatever, right?
Do you ever show properties
Never.
that are active? Yeah.
That's the problem, right? So it's almost like people don't understand that, and you don't want to waste your time as a buyer's agent. That's the main thing. When you're going and you're showing properties, it takes up time. It takes up your day. It takes up your family life, whatever it is. And so when you're wasting people's time to show a property that's under contract and you're showing it as active, it's kind of a kick in the teeth. It's like, oh, sorry, it's under contract. Well, why didn't you tell me that before I made this 45-minute trek to see the house?
So to be fair, this agent does claim to call any sort of showings that do happen after a contract has been accepted. So Shawn, you say you're a rule follower. What are your thoughts on getting a property under contract on Saturday night and then you're having an open house on Sunday? Have you done that before, where you've held an open house when it's still under contract?
Of course I have.
So where is that line where it's like, oh yeah, we're under contract, but we're still available?
I mean, that's the thing. That's a tough thing, because if I take a contract off quickly like that, I will be honest that I have kept it open because I wanted to see how I have an open house posted. So I didn't want to post it and say under contract and then cancel the open house. I'm an open house person. I like to do open houses. So I have kept it on for a couple of hours after I ratified. I've definitely ratified them right before the open house. And I'm like, I'm not taking this off the thing because once you take it off, the open house is gone, right? And so there are times when I've done that because, you know, as a seller, you've got to think, all right, well, there's this contingency. What if they back out? Oh, we didn't even get through a weekend, that kind of thing, right? So if it's that first weekend, naturally, I will be a little bit more lenient on a few hours to get through an open house. It's not like I deliberately say, oh, I went under contract Friday, I'm going to keep this thing active through Sunday.
I promise I'm not trying to get you in a gotcha because I feel similar to you. I think if there's like this momentum of you wake up at 6 a.m. and you have an under contract, but you're also putting out open house signs, it's like, all right, everyone else is waking up wanting to see this open house.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold it open. I'm going to tell anyone that's interested. It's under contract. But this was on a Facebook thread. This was on my phone. By the way, all of the ambulances know when we record podcasts, and they schedule the helicopter, the leaf blowers. So clients wanted to see a property last week. I submit, it's not up there.
Okay.
But I submitted the showing request. I get a text immediately from the listing agent. Just, hi, it's so-and-so. We actually, emphasis is mine, we actually just went under contract. We are contingent until Friday. This is Wednesday. So Wednesday, this is happening. We are contingent until Friday if you still want to show it, or I can check, you know, in with the buyer's agent. And I said, oh, gotcha. Like, thank you so much. That's so nice of you. We'll hold off on seeing it. If the property comes back on the market, we'll go ahead and take a look. By the way, the property is listed as active, but I kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt. I was like, if it comes back on, I didn't want to say like, oh, I must have missed the status, because that comes off a little passive aggressive. Then on Friday, I said, hey, I want to check back in. I still see it. I see it as active. Any updates on your end? Just says, hi, I'm so sorry. I'm going to switch it right now. Sounds like things are moving forward. Thank you. I said, oh, okay, thank you. Like, so nice. And then a week passed, and I was like, I wonder, let me just check back in. And, of course, the status had changed, and I looked at the acceptance of contract date, and it was 10 days before this text conversation. So originally, I thought that it was a condo, so they're doing like a 3-day, you know, condo right of refusal, and then the 3 days pass, they're going to change. She had listed as active for 10 days. What's the ramifications of that? I was thinking, okay, well, I'm not in the business of like reporting other agents, and like she would definitely know like I was the one that reported her. But I mean, where do you draw the line of this 2-day grace period turning into a 10-day grace period? Now, you know, half the properties on the Bright MLS are going to be active when really they're under contract.
Yeah. You know what the funny thing about that, and when you were saying that, it started making me think about, you know, the non-rule followers and why they do certain things. And in some instances, it's for themselves. It's not for the listing. It's not for the client. It's for themselves. And what are they trying to do? Well, if it's a hot listing and they're getting a lot of calls on it and they're getting a lot of leads on it, it's a lead generating system. And they're going to say, well, as long as I keep it active, I'm going to keep getting calls. I'm going to keep getting leads. If I put it under contract, no one's calling, no one's getting, you know, no one's coming to me. So I'll keep it active as long as I can to meet these new people, to get them as new buyers or whatever it is. So there's always going to be that element of it. You know, we in this room, we don't do that kind of thing, but we run across the people that do. And we know the people that do, that would manipulate the system in that way. And unfortunately, it happens, right? So I think there's a fine line. There's a line of, okay, I need to do this because it just went under contract and I had an open house. And then, or being scared that a contingency, there might be a weird contingency. And if that's the case, then do a kick-out clause, right? Do something like that where you can still keep it active or whatever. But in that instance, it feels a little bit like they were going after somebody else, right? They were going after more buyers.
Yeah, I'm not too like, I didn't lose any sleep over it.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, that's frustrating. All right, I'm going to move on with my life.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on, Stacy. We're going to go to a topic called in or out.
Okay.
This is pretty straightforward. It's whether you are in or out on a certain property. Now, before you immediately say yes or no, let me just lay the groundwork.
Okay.
This is if you have the money and if you're into the property. So we are going up to New Hartford, Connecticut,
Okay.
taking a look at the perfect Victorian house, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, 4,600 square feet, for just under $600,000. This is the Philip Chapin House, built in 1867 by prominent New Hartford family. This Grand Victorian is one of the finest examples of Northern Italian Renaissance-style architecture in Connecticut. That is an oddly specific type of Renaissance style in a certain area.
Yeah, for
Careful stewardship has resulted in an incredibly rare preservation with astounding original details on both the exterior and interior. Grand foyers, sweeping staircase, striking arch doorways, 12-foot ceilings, electrified original gas lamps, grand entertaining spaces, entertain a la the Gilded Age. So, cut me off if you're already sold, but are you in or out?
I think I'm out.
You're out? Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no. So let's hear it.
It's just not my style.
You're not a Victorian.
I'm not.
What is your
just
style?
not. I think my style is more like kind of a modern farmhouse type of style. But
So
I don't know if that is even a style
so
anymore. But
Well, it is.
It
Yeah,
is,
sure
yeah.
you don't look at the tall ceilings, the beautiful fireplace, the millwork, the architecture, and you don't just fall in love with this?
I mean, it's a beautiful house. It's just not something I would want to do. I think there's a lot of work that I probably would want to do.
There's a
yeah, and
ton
it's
of
just
work.
not what I want to do.
There's a ton of work.
Yeah. So I think I'm out.
Okay, Shawn.
Matt, when I first saw the house, the front of the home is absolutely gorgeous. It's a beautiful mansion, like Victorian style. I love the exterior. But as we get inside now, that there's big.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Hey, like
the wine room,
the wine cellar.
You
Okay,
didn't
well,
show me the wine room.
Matt always
Matt.
does this. He shows you some pictures. It doesn't show you. No, I'm just joking. But wow, I love it. But when I went in, when you were showing me the interior pictures, it felt, I can just feel it. It's cold in there, right? You're getting drafts through there. There's old windows. Those rooms are freezing cold in the winter. Where's this located? In Connecticut?
New Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah, Connecticut's
it's
cold,
cold.
man. You're going to have to burn those fireplaces. Again, this isn't my style of property either. I like the modern farmhouse. I like the, mid-century moderns. This seems like a ton of work, and it would be something that I would be constantly like, all right, let me modernize this when it's not supposed to be modernized, right? This is something that you're supposed to keep in that classic style. So for those reasons, aside from that wine room, I would say I am out. What's the price?
$595.
Great
That's a
price.
good price.
Great price.
That's a good price. Now, $595 actually could sway me.
So they don't show the in-ground pool because I think it's kind of disgusting. But then
Yeah.
they also have a carriage house that we're looking at right now.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, look at the intricacy of that woodwork on the exterior, and there's got to be wood rot, right? There's got to be a lot of wood rot going on in there, and that's so expensive to upkeep. I think that's the problem. You have to price this thing low in order to get the buyer, because the buyer is going to look at it and imagine the home inspection on this thing. I mean, it's going to be tough. So yeah, I'm still out. I think it's more of a headache than anything else.
So earlier this month, they dropped the price $80,000.
Wow.
And on a $600,000 property, that's a steep drop.
Yeah.
I think we're honing in on the exact, like, my dream type of property.
Mm-hmm.
I love the facade. I love the interior. I love the floor plan. I love everything about Victorian homes. And for that reason, I am so in.
Oh, he's buying it.
$595. I will YouTube how to do every single type of weather stripping, caulking. By the way, I did some caulking at the cottage down near Charlottesville.
Yeah.
I may be the worst caulker you have ever seen. The caulk lines on the outside of the windows are atrocious.
Oh
I just
my
hope
gosh.
no Airbnb people take a close look.
Yeah.
They're gonna take off a star because I don't know how to caulk.
Yeah, caulking is tough, and I'll tell you,
It
the one
is tough.
you have to lick your finger first. Get your finger wet before you do the line after it, because it's important to do a nice small bead and then go over with your finger with a wet finger.
Well, if you buy this house, you could get a lot of
Experience.
with that process.
Yeah.
Well, let us know down in the comment section if you are in or out on the Victorian in New Hartford. And for Shawn, Stacy, and myself, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Take care.
Bye-bye.